Can you talk about the screenwriting process? So David had this idea,
Yeah.
and you two were bouncing ideas off of each other, but how did the actual screenplay process work out?
David and I would try to get together in person as often as possible. I'm a stickler for outlining the story before you start writing dialogue. So a lot of it was just the painstaking, and this because we have two sides of the story, we have to make sure that there's something interesting happening on both sides of the screen at the same time. And it's interesting because for an audience perspective, they can see, say for example, there's a moment, it's not a big spoiler, but like Scott lies and says that he stopped drinking, he isn't going to have anything else to drink. So she feels relieved and that things are going the right way, but what the audience can see is that's not the case. So we're sort of always ahead of the game. We want to sort of give it that perspective, but also finding ways where just the synergy of, if she's sitting in the darkness or talking about a dark story, then he's out on the balcony in the light, just ways to keep a story interesting that would translate visually when you're never cutting and can't go back and cut anything. Because real time, that's it. You're done. We have no hidden cuts. There's nothing like that. So a lot of it was just figuring out the structure of how to do the story, but also having a story where we're going to have one phone call for the entire time. The dynamics of that, the reveals of informations, the sort of like twists or shocks or turns, just pacing that out was the agonizing part. And then, David and I both really enjoy writing dialogue. And David, I think some of the most beautiful dialogue he's written to date out of anything I've read is in this script. A lot of that was he was always going to play Scott in the movie. He's the actor in the film as well. So I think he was able to also cater writing that would suit his skill set and really help draw out the best of his acting talents and the character. And then once we knew that Sarah Booth was going to play Beth, I also, I've had a great chance to work with her a handful of times. I've seen her on stage in one-act plays that are 2 hours on stage with no scene breaks. I just knew that we could also throw a lot of heavy dialogue at her, that she'd be able to do it. And yeah, we try to meet as much as possible. We use the software Writer's Duet to write the script. Writer's Duet operates similar to Google Docs, where if you have multiple people on it, even if we're not together, we can see every change word by word just appears in the document. So if I'm sitting looking at the screen and David's writing, I can see what's being changed as, even if we're working remotely. And then what was neat was we were able to, since it was David and Sarah, and we're all friends or lived, Sarah's my wife, so we live together. It's easy to schedule rehearsal times. We would actually get together, read through portions of the script. We were able to sort of like adapt based on hearing it out loud. And then leading up to we were writing the film right into the film production, because we always knew there'd be what we call like an accordion effect, where until we could actually rehearse it on set and like, okay, well, it says that Scott walks from the bar to his apartment. Is that going to be 7 minutes long? Is that going to be 12 minutes long? Is that 3 minutes long? Based on the locations we had, we knew that we probably have to add or remove dialogue to get it in the sort of time frame that we wanted the finished film to be. So every day that we would rehearse things, we would change things, remove things, add more, and we were able to sort of film every rehearsal and see how it, so sort of a living, breathing script right up until even the first couple takes versus the last takes. There are changes to the story and the characters that happen. So it was a little different than anything else we'd written. But what ended up being really neat was Sarah had gone to Montreal to shoot a project. David was in LA and I was in Windsor prepping things for the movie and working on a couple music videos in Ontario. So we would do our rehearsals over the phone. So them as actors were already doing what they were going to have to do on screen. And I was able to just kind of listen to the phone call as the director and one of the writers and make notes and say, this is boring, this doesn't work, this is mumbling and confusing and not clear. So it's sort of that busyness benefited the script, being able to sort of rehearse it the way it was going to be performed.
And you shot the film in Canada, you said?
Shot the film in my home city in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. So anybody who's seen the film or has a chance, the bridge in the background, it is not Brooklyn or New York. It is Detroit, Michigan. It's the Ambassador Bridge that connects the countries. Our goal with this film was to make it super micro budget so that we wouldn't be out of pocket. We also know making independent film, like the landscape's changing. There's no more Blockbuster. There's barely a DVD and home video market anymore. So you have to make your movies that don't have big stars in them. You have to make them for a fraction of the budget if you want to be successful at recouping money at the end of the day. So having said all that, shooting at home, I knew, the college, we worked out a deal with the college that we filmed in, because in the script, the character Beth is the night janitor at a college, but we had this beautiful college building that we had full access to every day to rehearse and light and prep and shoot the movie in. And they essentially sponsored the movie and even had some of their students come out and help on set and help behind the scenes, which was phenomenal. The film score was recorded live in a single take, and that was done at the college's beautiful theater, the Chrysler Theater in Windsor. Again, they helped us. We did that event as a student event where high school students could come and watch the making of a score and learn about how film music is created. So my home city is always, not a lot of filmmaking happens there, so it's exciting. We always try to involve the students and the people. We had restaurants, local restaurants that sponsored us, and hotels that cut us deals for the out-of-town cast and crew. So the limited funds we did have, we could put on the screen and in the production value, and not worry about, if we shot it in LA, I think the price would honestly be quadrupled with the permits, and if I needed to close entire streets to walk from a bar to an apartment building, I don't think it would have happened. We had this high rise, it just, everything worked out in perfect sync. The bar we filmed in is my favorite bar back home, Vermouth. My friend Matt that owns the bar is also an actor, so he plays the bartender and the bar owner in the movie. There was just so much sort of perfect synergy to shoot it there that I can't imagine us having done it. At one point I tossed her, for about 5.5 seconds, I said, what if we shot one side in LA and one side in Windsor, and then we truly have this phone call that's across, even the border, and everybody said, no, that's too. We don't have, maybe one day when we have the money, we'll do something bigger. Yeah.